Green, yellow, red. The universal colors for go faster, and well, you might be getting a ticket in the mail. The reason we're able to make that crucial light or not is something we often attribute to luck, but traffic lights in reality are anything but that. See, in the beginning, traffic lights were originally manually operated. Unfortunately, during this time, racial discrimination and segregation were rampant. The only luck involved here was whether you were born into the majority group. As a result, some officers used the lights as another avenue to exert their power. You may ask, why did the chicken cross the road? Well, turns out it didn't, at least not until all the bears did. Initially, traffic lights were quite basic, just green and red. However, this simplicity led to many accidents as vehicles became faster and more common. The yellow light was then introduced as a transitional phase to give drivers a warning that the light was about to change. As technology continued to improve, automation was on the rise. More efficient traffic management systems were being implemented and traffic officers were being phased out, which the chickens were extremely glad about. Finally, a system that would treat everyone the same. It turns out though, that the seemingly simple task is surprisingly complex when it comes to creating an efficient, automated system. This complexity comes from the multitude of factors that must be considered in optimizing traffic flow. One of the key aspects involves understanding the intricacies of the traffic patterns in a particular intersection. Data analysis plays a crucial role in this process, enabling traffic engineers to fine-tune signal timings based on real-time information. Reaching an equilibrium between traffic lights at adjacent intersections is essential to prevent gridlock and ensure the smooth flow of vehicles. This orchestrated balance is what ultimately allows drivers to experience the coveted green wave. And no, that is not your new superhero name, but it is when any vehicle part of this wave that's traveling at a certain speed will experience cascading greens. Signal timings must also account for the type of intersection. An intersection primarily used by semis carrying the Amazon order of questionable shaped flashlights will need longer start and stop times, whereas a residential intersection should allow adequate time for old Bear Margaret to make it across. To meet these challenges, along with many others, the FDA, the Federal Highway Administration, sponsored the creation of the Signal Timing Manual, a 316-page book that discusses standards and best practices for just traffic light timing procedures. It ranges from going over the things mentioned earlier to also things like the dilemma zone. Imagine you're driving towards an intersection with a traffic light. As you approach, you notice that the light is green, so you keep moving. But here's the dilemma. The light might turn yellow while you're too close to safely stop, and you're left with a split-second decision to make. Should you slam on the brakes and risk a sudden stop? Or should you accelerate and try to make it through the intersection before the light turns red? The dilemma zone is particularly tricky for drivers because it varies based on factors such as vehicle speed, road conditions, and driver reaction times. If the yellow light duration is too short, drivers might be caught off guard and make abrupt stops, risking rear-end collisions. If it's too long, drivers might be tempted to rush through the intersection when they should have stopped. Traffic management is all about predictability. The more predictable a driver's actions are, the less accidents there are. Luckily for us, the Institute of Transportation Engineers created a formula precisely to avoid this scenario. After we plug in some of the provided numbers here with the perception reaction time of 1 second and a deceleration rate of 10 feet per second, we end up with the chart like this. So if you're going 35 miles per hour or 60 kilometers per hour, you can expect the yellow light to last at least 3.6 seconds. At a typical four-way intersection, there are three ways a vehicle can travel: left, right, or straight. These are called movements, taking into account all the directions, north, south, east, and west. In total, there are 12 ways a vehicle can travel, numbered like this, and 4 ways for pedestrians. To better organize and describe these movements, they're assigned a phase number. The straight and right turn movements are grouped together because they are compatible with one another. Now, in order to make sure Bear Margaret doesn't get hit, and hit, and hit again, say hello to NEMA, National Electric Manufacturers Association. NEMA has defined a standard to ensure no conflicting movements occur at the same time. This here is actually a NEMA phasing diagram, and translated to traffic light cycles now looks like this. A NEMA standard sequence diagram, or more commonly known as a ring and barrier diagram. The ring identifies phases that are operated one after another, and the barrier represents a separation point between the east-west and north-south traffic. For example, in this light cycle, it commences with east-west left turns, followed by traffic going straight, then the north-south left turns, and lastly the north-south right turns and east-west straight traffic. This example, though simplistic in nature, shows the engineering efforts aimed at ensuring both efficient and safe traffic flow. If you've ever wondered why certain intersections feature dedicated left turn signals while others don't, the answer involves a 25-step flowchart addressing concerns like, can you spot approaching cars without a telescope? And have the number of crashes there turned into a game of bumper cars? And if we make it all the way down to the bottom, well then, we should probably have a dedicated left turn light. Essentially, it boils down to how many T-bones are created on the road rather than the grille. As the day progresses, traffic light timings also change to accommodate peak traffic hours and minimize congestion during off times. Technological advances have also allowed us to adjust traffic lights dynamically. Induction loops, which are those squiggly lines and markings you sometimes see on the road, are used to detect when a vehicle is nearby. Cameras on the top of traffic lights are not for detecting speed, but rather the number of vehicles waiting at an intersection. With the boom of AI and machine learning, we're also using driving trends to model traffic patterns and make recommendations for optimizing existing traffic light plans. Perhaps manual traffic light timings will soon be a thing in the past. Now let's talk colors. Why are traffic lights colored like Mali, Guinea, Bolivia, Lithuania, Cameroon, Ethiopia, and the rest of these as well? To answer that question, let's take a trip back to 4th grade science with our magic school bus. Remember this? As a ray of light travels through a prism, it's separated into the colors of the rainbow based on their wavelength. This wavelength influences how it interacts in different environments. Shorter wavelengths are more prone to interference by the atmosphere in what is known as light scattering. This means increasingly reduced visibility the further you are from it. Looking at this diagram of wavelengths for visible light, we can now see that red, yellow, and green are all on the side of longer wavelengths, the same colors we see on traffic lights. Red being the most important to be aware of and therefore has the longest so it can be seen from the furthest distance. And there you have it, my newfound appreciation of traffic lights. If you enjoyed this video and want to see where Bear Margaret ends up next, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. And let me know in the comments whether you're feeling red, yellow, or green today.